Hi, friends. Welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host, Greg. And here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned.
But you don't remember that? The Capri Suns, then they came out with the pouches with the see-through bottom, so you can look at the bottom and see if there's any, mold floaties in there that are trying to kill you.
I do remember that. Anything about it?
No.
Okay,
we
that
were
was
just
it.
talking about Capri Suns. Yeah, that was it.
That was it. All right, friends. I'm your co-host, DJ Montague, don't get it wrong. I just say it like that because I make fun of myself. And we have our other co-host, Greg Deezus. Welcome.
Yeah, large Detroit Detroit.
Large.
Don't say it like that. It's actually Detroit. So
okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And we've got a banger episode today, and we have watched 4 new quote unquote shows. New-ish, right?
New-ish?
Yeah.
Failure Frame and Wistoria are still
they're still
active,
going, right?
So yeah.
So we've got 2 active and 2 that we watched full seasons of, and we'll be talking quite a bit about Go-Go Loser Ranger and Kaiju, obviously since the seasons are finished, and then touching a little bit on Failure Frame and Wistoria. Greg, how are you feeling about this season so far of Wistoria? Let's say that. Let's do that first.
Wistoria is good. I was surprised. I don't think it's really something that I like in terms of genre, but the animation's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
More or less, they're getting the story across. The action scenes are very good.
Yeah.
And basically, it's just anime Harry Potter is what it is to me.
Yeah, to me, like, it wants to be anime Harry Potter. Everybody's Harry Potter characters except for Will, the main character. Will is
he's like Harry, but instead of having the scar on his, above his eyebrow, he just is ripped as fuck and has scars all over his body.
He's fucking shredded.
So yeah, they made like 100 Horcruxes out of him, pretty much.
They have that picture I posted. I think I posted it to you, Greg, didn't I? No, I posted it to Pinky because she hasn't watched episode 3, and it's him fucking shredded. Obviously, he looks like super small. Like, here, let me bring up the picture because I've got a good picture of this.
Well, I don't know. It's just like he's got to wear like the school uniform. It's probably oversized generically to fit most students, so you wouldn't be able to see how jacked he is. But I mean, how fast that guy runs, he's got to have like a 0% body fat count on himself.
Probably negative percentage. Like he absorbs other people's body fat into his black hole. I like it because it is fun, but there are some elements that are pretty dark when it comes to the show. Like obviously they've already talked about like some major plot points, talking about the Calamity. It's much faster than something like Mushoku Tensei. It's much faster storyline wise. Like they're already starting like almost like a tournament arc in the first season. And like Jobless is like, hi guys, we talked about a boner for like a whole season. You know what I mean?
For like 2 seasons. Yeah.
So Wistoria is just like fun for me. I think it's cool. It's cool. And like him cutting up magic, I'm waiting for them to just break his sword and then he's fucked.
I don't know. He was trying to punch magic and stuff before too, so I mean, maybe if he tries hard enough, he'll be able to do it. But I have noticed
One Punch Man magic version.
They're starting to build the world a little bit, and they are kind of starting out with the whole mage tower thing and how the mages are holding up the sky, and how if the sky ever falls, they're gonna be faced with a calamity, and then they're just gonna be fucked at that point.
Yeah.
I think right now they're kind of building the world to look pretty similar to ours, I guess, where you do have the sky, you do have all of this stuff. and I'm assume later on in like my predictions for what's going to happen is eventually the sky will fall.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will be probably faced with whatever calamity this is.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, in dire straits and in times of humanity's annihilation, I'm sure that all races and all people, whether you can use magic or not, will band together.
Yeah.
And fight, save the world.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, we already know what's going to happen. It's just about watching it because it's awesome. It's like when the first like 2 seconds of the show, he slides under a monster and then chops its right arm or right leg off and kills it. And it was pretty cool. And then like later in the episode, he fights a demon, or it maybe that might be episode 1. It's episode 1. He fucking chops the evil sentinel. Yeah. That was episode 1. That's how fast that show moves. You know what I mean? It's like, it's engaging. And it's like Jobless is such a slow burn in comparison to Wistoria. I feel like I've watched a lot of what's going on in Wistoria already.
I guess for me, I'm still trying to figure out, Will is inside of the College of Magic.
Yep.
The world is based around magic. It's actually, your standing in society is if you can use magic or not.
Mm-hmm.
So by their standards, like Will is on the level of the dwarfs pretty much.
Yeah,
like can't use magic. You're just trash. And the only reason he's in the college is because he knows one of the Magia Vander personally.
Kind of
is like the only reason why he's in there.
So when Cauldron and him are like in the room and it's the 5 years ago flashback, basically McGonagall from fucking Harry Potter, but she's a headmaster now. When they're in that room and like he's standing with Workner and he's like kind of really, really tired. And Cauldron's just like, all right, throw him a sword. You know nothing about magic. You want to do this. I'm going to summon all these fireballs around you. How are you going to react? And he takes a sword and he fucking cuts up all the fireballs and stuff. And then Cauldron's like, you're in, dog. And then he's like, cool, I can take a nap now. Finally, go to sleep. So now, like, my whole thing with him is like, obviously he was orphaned. His mana obviously is going to his fucking shredded ass muscles. That's the fucking storyline. And he's just like, I can't use magic because it's all going to my fucking buff ass muscles. That's it. That's the fucking spoiler.
But then he also has,
that's what I think, at least,
his roommate.
Yeah, Rusty.
That just makes him magic shit all the time.
I was like an artificer. So Rusty is like, he's like Batman, and like Alfred's just like his roommate now. It's weird. Yeah. It's a weird amount of things happening in the show. I mean, you've got all the tropes of like, I've got my guy that doesn't like me because I'm, doing the normal. God, I lost my train of thought now.
No, maybe Alfred is like Roxy and
Will.
No,
don't do this to Batman. Don't do this to Batman.
Maybe Alfred is Alina Leese. Maybe that's more accurate. They're about the same age range, I think, at that point.
I think that it's pretty fun. It was a pretty fun show. And I think it'll get pretty sad with all the classmates that you meet all just hanging out, and like you learn their powers, and then they got to band together to fight, something, and one main character dies or some stupid shit. Hopefully it's Julius. That kid sucks. But yeah, I had fun.
No, it's good. I like it so far. Definitely will continue to still watch.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, I'm just kind of interested in how they're going to develop the story a bit more. Like you said, it does move pretty quick. So I don't know if this season we're going to see the Skyfall or Will ascend the tower to actually hang out with his lady. But
yeah. Also, she's in love with him too, that's kind of new. Normally like it has to be like a blossoming love over like the course of like fucking 10 seasons or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then finally like the female character's like, oh, I really am in love with you. And I've loved you the whole time, or whatever it is. But it started off like they're already like, yep, we're in love, and I'm gonna go find her because that's it. So that's cool.
I don't know. I assume when they finally run into each other, they're gonna have some weird, awkward exchange.
I think he ends up with Colette.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like how Harry should have ended up with Hermione, but instead he's with Ginny, and everyone hates it.
Yep, everybody hates it. Anyways, all right. So, Wistoria is cool. If you haven't checked it out, we're gonna be watching it over the next. I think there's 8 more episodes.
Yeah, episode 4. Yeah, 12 episodes, I believe. So yeah, 8 more.
For season 1. Season 1 will have 12 episodes. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll start it on a high note with Wistoria. Let's really plumb the depths of Failure Frame. Let's really dig into the core. Want to
jump right into failure at 60 frames a second every episode. So yeah, with Failure Frame, it's another isekai, and at least I feel like with Jobless and even like Shield Hero, for example, like I feel like it took them a little bit to grasp their surroundings, like understand what is actually happening. Where am I? What's my expectation? Why am I even here? But no, apparently these kids are literally on a bus and they just all get teleported.
Yeah.
All at once.
Yeah.
And then the second that they land in the new world, they're just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to help you defeat the Demon King. Oh, man, you gave me a badge that says I'm S rank. Like, high five, princess. This is the best day of my life. You want to kill one of our classmates? And they're like, yeah. So, like, no one even took
instantly.
Like, no initiative. There's like zero anything. It was literally like they're on a bus, they get teleported, they kill a classmate. That's the first like 30 seconds of the anime. Like no one questions anything.
Yeah.
The teacher is just captivated by boobs.
Yeah.
It was just complete like Lord of the Flies. Like the princess had the adults here. Yep. And then she handed the pig head to everyone else, and everyone was like, kill what's his I don't even remember his name. Memori. Yeah, it's Memori. So yeah, it's like, oh, let's just kill this guy.
Yeah.
So then they put him on a little instead of killing him. I guess in the past, it's insinuated that the princess is saying that this isn't the first time that they've had to bring people from the other world.
Yes.
So they've had to bring people from the other world other times, and then, you know, apparently the weakest hero, they just straight up dome him the second he teleports in.
Yeah. Well,
but they're like, yeah, it just lowered morale too much. So instead, we're just going to teleport him into like an undefeatable dungeon.
Yeah.
So, you know, you guys don't have to worry about, you know, him dying because of you. It's just he'll die naturally in this dungeon that is impossible.
Yeah. It fucking killed me when you're just sitting there and it's just like everybody's chilling. They have the discussion. They're like, yeah, man. So you're E rank, dude. And it's like every kid's like, sucks to be that dipshit. I'm fucking B rank, S rank, whatever. And then it's just like they split off into fucking like their own little tribes immediately. There is no conversation. It's just like one girl is like, I'm gonna blackmail you and I'll fucking kill you myself if you don't join our friendship group. Welcome. You know, like that is like the whole feeling of that show. And this kid, he gets teleported into the dungeon and he's fucking sitting there and he's like, damn, I only have paralyze, sleep, and poison. And it was like, shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot. Everybody who's ever played an MMO knows that you're going to be just fine with those abilities. But the fucking, the goddess said that CC abilities are bad. And I just was like, I'm so mad right now. And then he paralyzes one, poisons it, and then it dies, and then he gains 100 levels. Okay? And they've said in the show, or this, whatever this is, that the only people that can gain experience are the kids that they bring to this world. And I hate it so much because it's just like, oh, no amount of training at all is going to make your sword skills better? Or do you just not have the ability to see your stats or whatever if you're born in this world? It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid and I'm mad about it, okay? This kid gains hundreds of levels and then it starts paralyzing. He's just like, pew, 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 pew. I'm going to paralyze everything at level whatever, 200. And then, but he's also like his paralyzed skills are leveled up to level 3 or whatever. Who gives a shit? Oh my god, the tilt of Failure Frame.
Well, I mean, once you get to level 2, you got AoE paralyze and AoE poison.
Yeah.
But I just don't get, the story cadence was too jarring. It basically starts out, they're on the bus. They have a flashback to when he's a kid, and his dad is just like beating him
up
while his mom is jerking off his dad while he's getting beat. And then they get into this world, no one asks questions. He gets teleported into like the inescapable dungeon.
Yeah.
But then somehow figures out in like 30 seconds how the dungeon works and how all of his skills work.
Yeah.
And then he basically blames it on his dad that beat him and is just like, yeah, dad, I can kill because of you. Like, I don't feel bad killing anybody.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
Because, you like beat me up. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know if that's healthy.
Like, he's just murdering people, too.
Yeah, like the Holy Watchers. He's just like poison. Oh, you're
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They deserve it, of course.
They did.
To a certain extent. Like, this is a world where, like, everything's terrible all the time. And everybody's getting fucking killed, murdered, R-worded, like, all over the place. Yeah. It's pretty fucked. And then you watch it, and what's the other character's name? What's the girl's name?
In my notes, she's called Big Titty L. Because they didn't say her name for literally, like, 5 episodes, but I think it's Saris is her name.
They said her name like almost immediately.
Yeah, it's Saris. No, they did. No.
Yeah, they did because they said her name because they referenced her name in comparison because the guy is like taking off her mask and he's like, "You're this person," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And Elf has the illusion of taking, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but that was like episode 3. But yeah, Saris Ashrain is her name.
Okay,
her hidden identity was missed. Balkus? Beluga. Miss Beluga.
Got it. Nailed it.
Her
Fuck yeah, dude.
So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is like, this reminds me of Rising of Shield Hero combined with Redo of Healer.
What makes...
The only difference between this and Redo of Healer is that in between his journeys, he's just not like banging a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
This is actually like a Redo of Healer without the banging.
So one of the other things about this show, and I talked to you a little bit about it, but I thought about it more and I didn't put it in my notes, but like they use a lot of 3D animation and they also use a lot of 3D animation for the main characters, like, and we'll turn them around so that they don't have to fucking CG animate lip flap. And I'm just like, yo, this is so fucking jarring to watch. Like, you watch these characters interacting with each other in 2D, right? And then all of a sudden he's like turned around in like a scene you've kind of seen before, but he's just like copy pasted on that place. And then he's just in 3D and then he like turns around and then says something else. It's very weird. I am not a big fan of Failure Frame. We're going to keep watching it, obviously.
But I mean, they do have that. Yeah, I mean, that's in my notes too. The weird mix of CG and traditional animation, because normally you would use CG to take care of stuff that you don't want to deal with. Like, I don't know, a lot of characters flying around or crazy explosion action scenes where you can use CG and it'll be way faster than animating it by hand.
Right.
But the times that they use CG, I was just like, why? Because it's like, you're in an in-room, Saris is sitting on your bed, you're sitting in a chair, you're talking normally in 2D, and then the next scene, it's in 3D, him standing up, and then it turns back to 2D after he says something.
This is a prime example. It's in episode 2. So when he's fighting the
Soul Eater.
Yeah, the Soul Eater. So he's like 2D talking to it, and then it turns to his back, and he's in 3D now, looking at the 3D model of the Soul Eater with like 2D stuff in between them.
Mm-hmm.
And the Soul Eater's face is moving. He's not moving. And it's just like a very jarring. Yeah, it's like, I get that you want to save money and like keep it somewhat like high quality. So they've obviously animated these characters. Like, I would assume almost every character that's going to be like a major point or in a major fight scene of the show, they're animated and rigged, completely done already. so that they can just insert them and do whatever they need to do in these major fight scenes. So, and they're not even fucking fight scenes, because what's he gonna fucking fight with paralyze and sleep? Fuck off. Like, suck my dick, dude. Oh, just make this thing stop moving so I don't have to fucking animate it. Fuck off. Anyways, that was frustrating.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then my other note here was, did the animation get shittier? What is this? Like a 1990s point and click adventure.
Oh, that was that one picture you sent me that was pretty fucking hilarious.
And I think that was episode 3 or episode 4.
I think it was 3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, what happened to the budget? Like, I feel like you, with all your CG, you could have just like CG'd a town or CG'd some people or do something else. But when he walked into, because the dungeon that he was teleported to is not where everyone else is and where they were originally located. He's like in a different part of the world.
Yeah. Also, wait, so, okay, this also frustrates the fuck out of me. So, stats-wise, he's got an insane amount of dexterity, agility, intelligence, like, whatever the other stats are. His HP and MP are, like, super high now. But he talks about it like he's, like very mortal. He's looking at his stats, and it says 3,567 whatever hell, or strength. And you're just like, okay, in comparison to what you were, which was like 1, 2, or 3 when you came to this world, you are now thousands of times stronger than what you were. So shouldn't you just be kicking holes and shit?
Yeah, I thought it's really weird too, because he goes to Ceres and was like, I want you to be my bodyguard. But in reality, it's like, why do you need her? Because you literally have more strength, more dexterity, more intelligence, more health, more mana than anyone else that exists in the world, including your fellow students who are just, having a birthday party for like turning level 25.
Right.
And then he's like level 2000.
Well, like one of them is like, oh, I'm level 18 off these mobs. I'm really fucking chugging along. You know what I mean? Pinky brings up a good point. They're probably just setting him up to be the Demon Lord. Sure. That'd be cool. I mean, cool twist. He's the evil character. And then all of the students have to go fight him or something. I don't fucking know. But still, like, it just seems really weird that so far he has, I guess, zero, like, interaction with the world that he's in. And he also, I feel like, doesn't want to go back to his world.
Well, I mean, that's like the priority, is to beat the Demon Lord. And then if you take the princess at face value, you beat the Demon Lord, and then he drops Demon Lord dust or whatever item you need to do like the reverse teleportation. And then that's how everyone gets back. Now, I mean, obviously, the princess isn't a good person. Probably that demon dust does something else, not teleport them back. And then if you look at the other heroes when he was inside like the dungeon of Never Get Out, they were all old heroes that were basically quote unquote disposed of.
Yeah.
And that could be after they defeat the Demon Lord, get the dust to the princess, they all get exiled to this dungeon they can never get out of.
Right.
And then that's what they do with all of the, quote, the heroes after they're done using them for whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would be cool if they did have some sort of twist like that, where he becomes a Demon Lord. Or, you know what? Maybe the princess is the Demon Lord. And then she's just dressed up like a princess. So they're actually doing all of this stuff to defeat the
goddess,
Demon Lord.
when you're saying that?
Yeah, the goddess. Sorry, not princess. The goddess. And it's probably going to be some weird twist like that. Like, oh, she was a Demon Lord all along, and you guys didn't even know. You just, were blowing up orbs because you're getting S-rank, hand jobs from each other while you're killing your classmates. So
nice. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if they did something like that, I mean, I guess it would be redeeming. If Memori became the Demon Lord, that would be redeeming. But then you also have that other kid, the timid one on the bus that, was just like getting his chair kicked. And he's just like, oh no, please stop. It hurts my skull.
Oh, and then he turns crazy.
Yeah. And then now he's just some like Dark Knight crazy dude.
Yeah. I forgot about that. So maybe he just ends up being the Demon Lord. And
that's the thing. It's Memori is going along. with his abilities, thinking he's like, the dark horse, like everyone hates me. I got to go kill the goddess because I want my revenge or whatever. Let me go translate this forbidden scroll, which probably has some sort of magic, which dispels the goddess's barrier for, blocking CC.
Also, how is he not learning any other spells from this fucking forbidden tome? What is going on?
Well, the Forbidden Tome, that's why he had to go get the Skeleton King dust, was because now he has his slime friend.
Yeah, he got the Skeleton
dust. Yeah. And in the tome was this, like, the concoction to basically have, like, slime modification. It's literally Eminence and Shadow. Slime's going to turn black. He's going to put on slime armor. Then he's going to go atomic. That's what's going to happen.
I'm going atomic.
That was my prediction for, the end of episode 5, where the Black Dragon Riders come to try and capture Ceres. And then, the Black Dragon Rider captain is just like, oh yeah, my orders are to kill you. But like, look at me. I'm a man and I'm going to do what men do best. And then he gets paralyzed poisoned. But then afterwards, he's like, Ceres, I want you to be my bodyguard. She's like, oh, you're paying me too much in, blue eyes white dragon gems. Yeah. And then, then after he's like, I'm glad you'll be my bodyguard. Take off your clothes. That was the literal quote from the anime.
Yep.
And then the episode ends. So my prediction is that he finished his Piggymaru slime concoction, and then it will be like an Eminence and Shadow thing where Piggymaru is now going to be her new armor, and he's able to be like some weird living armor fucking slime thing. I don't know. I guess we'll find out on Friday, I think, when it comes out, what actually happens. There's no other reason for him to tell her to take off her clothes unless he's going to like do something like that. So
failure frame manga chapter. There are 50 current chapters. Piggymaru is cool.
There's nothing wrong with Piggymaru. I mean, he's going to be, the armor on the naked Ceres Ashrain elf queen's body. So, I mean, he's going to be high-fiving all the dudes, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I just like...
But, to be fair to the show's creators, they did set some boundaries with his power. In the beginning, you can't double paralyze someone.
Right.
You can't double sleep someone. So now I'm curious, is since he casted sleep on Ceres and paralyze on Ceres already, does that mean that she is now like immune to his magic besides poison? Because when they went into the dungeon to get the Skeleton King dust, she didn't want to sleep because her illusion would wear off. So he casted sleep on her, and then she got a full night's rest and, was wondering, why did my illusion wear off? And then before that, after he killed the Holy Watchers, he paralyzed her so he can talk to her. So now does that mean she can no longer be paralyzed and no longer be slept because you can't double sleep, double paralyze people? And now she's the actual like linchpin, only person that can kill him because he already used all of his spells on her. Yeah, he paralyzed her and then unparalyzed her head so she could talk.
Okay. Well, either way.
The fact that we're having this conversation proves that this anime is terrible. Like the fact that we even are talking about this shows like how poorly it was thought out.
Okay, I just saw a couple manga panels and it looks like some people get fucking chopped in half and like their heads cut off and stuff like that. So maybe it gets better.
It doesn't, I mean, even then it doesn't matter because I mean, I feel like right now, yeah, him just paralyzed poisoning everyone and then, their brains are coming out of their nose. It's like, I don't know, if some dudes gets chopped up, I mean, I guess. But that's the thing too. It's like they're using a lot of, like, to me, it's very obvious story building elements. Like, why is it that like every dude that isn't Memori is just like, man, I can't wait to find a lady and then just do bad things to her.
Yeah.
It's like, what world are we living in like where that is the only thing going through literally everybody's brain except Memori's.
Also, when you're having characters that are like all female and strong, like why does this world evolve like this Okay, because if you were looking at the population of this world without the demon lord being involved, and you think about the growth of the world, you think about the world, like say our world, where men were physically stronger, and we're hunter gatherers, all that other bullshit. But that's not what that world did. Like these women are just as strong as the men. There's also goddesses. Why is it immediately going there?
They just want to generate that feeling of it being like a dark, foreboding world that's dangerous and can't trust anyone, because it's basically playing like right into Memori's character's hands, where he's like, I can't trust anyone. Like, I'm not going to ask you about your past. You don't ask me about mine. Yeah. I'm just trying to do my own thing. So, I mean, they're artificially creating this environment where Memori can be 100% successful. Mm-hmm. And that's why the story is bad, is because normally in traditional storytelling, you can make someone appear good or bad depending on how you tell the story and how, you basically lay out the details of who that character is. But instead, they're taking the easy way out and just being like, everyone wants to R everybody else. Everyone's bad. R is bad, so they must be bad.
Yeah.
So they basically took like the easy way out, where they're just like, we'll just throw this word around and then get the audience to automatically connect the two dots together and be like, this guy likes R, this guy bad. And then Memori's the good bad guy because he kills, those dudes, and he doesn't want to do it himself.
Right.
So they're like artificially building this like anti-hero, main character guy that's dark and foreboding, yet the world is stupid and nothing makes sense. So for me, that's my biggest problem with Failure Frame, like as an anime. Like I could even look past the animation, because that whole fight scene, the 2D fight scene, mind you, of Ceres fighting the Black Dragon Knight captain guy, like the whole swordplay thing was like, it was so slow. Like it was slow. It was poorly drawn. Like the detail was awful. Like, I didn't feel like any weight behind his swing. I didn't feel her struggle with like defending it. And then, yeah, you're supposed to be the Paladin Knight captain or whatever. And then this guy just easily overpowers you. And then if anyone is a fighter, like to me, the worst thing, or like the dumbest thing that some guy attacking you can do is literally like hold you by your wrists and put your arms above your own head. Because it's like, now anything below his belt and below your belt is completely free to move. Like you could literally do anything, just like knee the dude in the nuts,
start kicking dicks,
the guy.
Dude.
Yeah, like you have all sorts of options. So like that whole scene of like that being like, oh, the pin, she can't get out of it. I don't know.
Yeah. One other thing that bugs the fuck out of me is like, show me, don't tell. Show me why these people are bad. Telling me I want to R word everybody is like stupid as fuck. I don't want to see obviously the R word situation, but show me them being murderers. Show me them being like terrible people to other human beings. That isn't just them talking, because it's just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, the Holy Watchers, like I had no idea that they were bad, besides the fact that they had a conversation about finding the elf, and before they turn her in, they like have fun.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I got to see of those characters.
Right.
And now they're dead. And now like I'm never going to know anything else because they've been paralyzed, poisoned into oblivion.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So what I'm seeing here is that in the excerpts, like the last pages of the manga panels, he's doing like full light novel chapters almost, where it's like, oh, what's this person's motivation? Literally at the end of chapter 15, it says, what the strongest man in the world wants. And it's just like dialogue. And it's just like people talking back and forth, but it's all text. And okay. And then there's an afterword, a note from the author. It's like, I do like the reading aspect of manga, obviously. But if we are doing this medium, this isn't a light novel. And also the anime is like, well, we'll just, I don't, this is me.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Like a Star Wars intro, like
Right.
just scroll,
Like a scroll.
the monologue up, and then like we just get to read it for a full episode?
Yeah,
or?
that'd be sick. I think that'd be really new.
I guess Failure Frame, it currently is living up to its name of being a failure. But we do have 7 more episodes of it. Maybe it'll pull something out. It'll surprise us. It is just one of those things where, like, I think nothing about it right now is unique. It's an isekai, not unique. This concept of basically sacrificing the quote unquote perceived weakest guy right off the bat is not unique. His current arc into like getting revenge, not unique. Because this is Shield Hero. That was exactly what happened in Rising of Shield Hero, is they all got teleported in. Everyone's like, sword, bow, spear, like, look how cool these guys are. And then they're like, oh, you have a shield? Like, that's disgusting.
You fucking
and
whip.
Yeah, and then they basically just shit all over him, and then he had to go through this big thing of like proving himself and moving up in the world. And that's literally the same thing here. I mean, I said it before, like Redo of Healer, it's just like that too. He got shit on, and now he's looking for his revenge. And then instead of just, you know, getting revenge in the really weird way that Redo of Healer gets revenge, it seems like he's just doing it normally. He's just going to get normal revenge. Yeah. Just normal classic revenge. I mean, Eminence and Shadow as well too. It's all these little elements of like other things where Failure Frame isn't really unique or like presenting anything that another anime hasn't already done and done it better. So, you know, I don't want to take it away from the guy and just be like, oh, if you can't make something new and exciting, don't make it at all. Like, good for you
that's not how the world works.
But good for you for making Failure Frame. Maybe it's his first one. He's never made one before.
Well, imitation is the best form of flattery, because like art imitates art, and that's how we get people that are incredible artistry. You learn and you have the shortcuts of like a famous painter, and you're like, oh wow, they learned about all this. I'm going to imitate their art, and then maybe I learn something from them. That's literally how a lot of what we do as humans learn.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
But normally, like using that example, if you did take inspiration, then normally you add your own twist to it to make it yours. Yes. Because if you just copied someone else's art, now you're just plagiarizing, and you know, that's no one likes that, because you're just taking something of somebody else's and calling it your own. Mm-hmm. With this, that's basically it, because you took all of these same elements, you made it, but then since you didn't put your own unique twist or your own unique spin, even the characters and animation style and the CG and everything, I feel like isn't unique enough to make it stand out as its own anime inside of like the dark isekai genre.
Yeah, I agree.
But all that being said, we got 6 more episodes of it. Not looking good for my ratings of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we give it a shot, and then once it's finished,
we power through, boys.
Yeah, we'll give you our final decision on how we feel about Failure Frame.
All right, so let's go back to the high notes. Let's talk about Kaiju, dude.
Kaiju is great. You initially watched it first. Mm-hmm. So our last episode, I think you basically watched half of it. Yep. I didn't watch any of it. Mm-hmm. And then after that episode, I was like, okay, I'm going to get in on this. You said I would hate it.
I did.
And I'm here to report that you are incorrect.
Wild.
I thought Kaiju was very good. I'm not going to say it was like amazing. It's not like 10 out of 10. But I thought it was very good. It didn't have some of the elements that I normally look for in anime.
In your list of things that need to happen for it to be a good anime, none of it's like, not all of it.
None of it happens. Yeah. None of it happens, yeah. Well, actually, the last thing is where it's like 12 episodes or less. So that had it going. Mm. But just like Kafka himself, Kaiju persevered and won a place in my heart. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do find it a little annoying about the plot armor of the characters.
Few of them, yeah, so far.
I am also annoyed that literally no one has died yet. Well, okay, I shouldn't say literally. There have been people that died, but
inconsequential characters.
Yeah, we weren't introduced to them. We don't even know their names. I don't even know what they look like originally, but I know like some people have died. But I think the heart of the story is kind of what won me over. Because if we want to summarize it real quick, our hero, Kafka, he made a promise as a child to his dear friend.
It's Wistoria.
Yeah, literally Wistoria. And then after that, he just got jacked as shit and was cutting magic in half.
That didn't happen in Kaiju at all.
No. But he made a childhood promise to his friend, Mina, that they would grow up and they would both join I almost said Demon Defense Force. I meant the Kaiju Defense Force and exterminate Kaijus together, because Kaiju messed up their childhood just like many childhoods of the children in this world.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that Kaiju so the allegory of Godzilla to the atomic bomb for Japan is like a big thing. When it comes to like the destruction of major cities by a foreign giant adversary that is like almost unbeatable, that's that allegory. In this show, it feels like the fight against that old trope, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and I guess that's the weird thing, because some people, before I watched Kaiju, they told me it was like, like Attack on Titan or Pacific Rim or Code Geass.
Very weird for them to equate those things, in my opinion.
And I mean, I think it's because you have like really big monsters. They eat you, more or less. And they're like really difficult to defeat, right? You almost have that unbeatable adversary that you have to overcome. So I guess for me, I was surprised because Kaiju doesn't give me that same like feeling of dread. Like when I watch Pacific Rim, or when I watched literally episode 1 of Attack on Titan, immediately you could feel that feeling of dread. Like it was palpable. Like they wrote the story in such a way where when you watch that first episode of Attack on Titan, you were like, how is anyone going to survive this?
Bro, when you see the walls and you're like, okay, how does human life normally exist? It's just in these walls. It's just in these cities. Like, and this is the last one apparently, or whatever it was originally. And the entire outside world, outside of this, is just roaming giant babies.
Man-eating, roaming giant babies. Yeah, and that's what I mean. And that's like, I wish I liked Attack on Titan, and I might have to revisit it. But
I will.
How they did that first season, like how they built the world gave you that feeling. They basically crafted it where it's like you have these walls, they protect the people. You have I can't remember the squad name, but you have the dudes flying around on zip lines, cutting little wedges out of the back of giant flesh gundams. And they're there to protect you as well. And then in that first episode, they took all of that safety that they built and that they portrayed onto the viewer, like, okay, as long as these things are good, everyone's going to be safe. Walls are down, and then your zipline dudes are just getting bit in half.
Fucking annihilated. Like, swatted out of the sky. Oh, dude. And you're just like, oh, nothing's good. Nothing's good's going to happen for the next 5 seasons of the show.
They didn't pull any punches. Like Aaron's mom is just like, Aaron, save yourself. I'm trapped under rubble. Don't come save me. Yep. Yeah. Then it's just like eating balut, dude, just crunching on beak and bone. And like, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Kaiju did not give me that feel.
No.
Like when the first Kaiju came, I was like, okay, he's, or whatever, whatever is destroying the town. But what's kind of the world that they built is that kaijus are a normal everyday occurrence. Like kids are watching on the TV and they're just like, oh, Defense Force 8.
Yeah, which Defense Force shows up, dude? Let's watch
like who's gonna blast this? Yeah. Who's gonna blast this? And everyone's like, oh man, another one. Oh, traffic's awful. Yeah. And then like they just live with it day to day, and no one is even really like worried about the threat of the kaiju. Yeah. So that was definitely like one of the differences that I noticed, where, okay, if like none of the populace care about the dangers of the kaiju,
none of them are dying. Like,
yeah, like no one's dying. Yeah, no,
they said that
bystanders are dying.
they evacuated the entire city that fast, and that none of the kaiju killed 0 people because of the defense force. And it's like, okay, well, if we're that strong, like that's kind of fucking crazy, right? Like there had to have been obviously before, when they're talking about like magnitude of kaiju that are coming through, like 8+ is like insane, and they are destroying full cities, they are killing people, and it's a big thing. But like you see like this 6 point whatever was the first one just get like shot a hole through, like fucking mouth to anus, just gaping hole, and you're like, oh shit, humans are tight as fuck, dude. Like we are the dominant species.
Basically, it's like I don't have that feeling of dread. I'm just like, oh, okay. And then, enter Kafka. He made his promise with Mina, and then now he's just mopping up her mess after she just blasts kaijus in half with her giant sniper rifle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you have Kafka, normal everyday guy, 32 years old.
Love it. Big fan.
He's just kind of settled in life.
Yeah.
He's like, I tried my best to get into the Kaiju Defense Force.
Yep. 28 was the cutoff. I've been just clean up crew since then. He works out a little bit, but it's not like he's like really going to try and like retry out. And then he meets Reno, and Reno's fucking like main character energy all around, just like working out all the time, trying his best, learning about the kaiju. Like all of these characters that they introduced in the beginning, I enjoy to a certain extent. They surround Kafka. It makes it better for me because Kafka's such a fucking fuck up. I love it. He's me, bro. He's just trying to game, you know what I mean? Like just trying to get by, and it's great. And like they do such a good job of writing in his abilities as being able to be a coach and like teach people how to fight the kaiju and what to do, because like he can assess, because he's cut up all these kaiju and had to remove massive kaiju from wherever. I think obviously like we don't know what the kaiju the kaiju that inseminates itself into Kafka's body. Is that a good verbiage? I like.
Yeah, we'll go with.
I was gonna say like Kafka sucks off a fucking mosquito kaiju, but I feel like that was
both are accurate. Yeah, so either or. I think they're interchangeable. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Kafka being injured gets a kaiju mosquito like inserts itself into him. He can now turn into some semblance of a kaiju in like smaller form, and is just like a fucking badass. But he's got to be very conscientious of holding that form and going between human and kaiju. And all of this stuff is like the way that he learns about it and how he can transform parts of his body to help better his chances in these trials and tribulations he's going through, and then saving his friends, and just like all of it. I think they do a good job. I think it's a fun anime. It's
basically like One Punch Man, but instead of him living in like a world of superheroes, like One Punch Man, he's pretty much like a superhero that has to hide he's a superhero.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool, to go back to your point, when he's like teaching Reno and he's helping everyone out, how they created the character where he is like an older guy, right? He's a 30-something-year-old guy, and he's able to use like his experiences in life to help the younger crew in the defense force.
Yeah.
So it is portraying kind of like the older, more mature adults that, we don't always have to be transformed into like 16-year-old boys and then go back to high school and gather a harem. You can just be like a normal guy and, use your life experience to help other people around you. Mm-hmm. I thought it was silly when he first got changed into the kaiju. Mm-hmm. First of all, the old man that reported them. Mm-hmm. And then as they were on the run, how he was learning about his kaiju body by peeing out of his nipples. And like some of that stuff, I was just like, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah. It's
like,
so
what is
stupid.
going on? And I think that kind of goes towards Kafka's character, though, because, he is kind of like a aloof, fun-loving old guy, but he's in a kaiju, or he has a kaiju inside of him that is literally rated like the highest threat magnitude kaiju that
two off of 10.
Yeah, that has like come into existence at all.
Yeah.
But he's still the same old Kafka.
Yeah. Peeing from his nips.
Yep. Completely normal.
Yeah. Super normal kaiju shit. I do like how they meet. The mushroom kaiju is fucked up, and I enjoy that. Like the crazy, it reminds me of Mahito from Jujutsu Kaisen. Like he's like, well, you know, we're here and I'm going to create all the chaos that I possibly can. I'll kill people. I don't really give a shit. I'm learning about the world and I fucking hate it. So fuck all these people. Able to transform into human form. You've got two people running around on the opposite ends of the spectrum. You've got Kafka who wants to save people, and you've got Mushroom Kaiju who's just like, fuck everybody. So I enjoy quite a bit. You see like what Kafka could be if he just decided to have no feelings as well. Like, and how he could just completely let this thing take over him. And instead he's using it for the side of good.
And I am curious what the future seasons are going to be like, because originally, you know, when he's transforming and he's helping his friends and he's just literally punching like giant 8.2 magnitude kaijus in half.
Yeah.
You don't really see like a negative to his ability quite yet. It's kind of like he transforms, he punches something in half, then he transforms back before anyone notices, and then, you know, just escapes into the background and no one knows the wiser.
Yeah.
But
he's Batman.
At the end of Kaiju, when
he's fighting the dude,
they actually discover that Kaiju number 8 is actually Kafka. And then they have the big discussion on, is he human? Is he kaiju? Like, what is he? How do we, you know, we've never run into something like this before. And then he proves his humanity in the eyes of
also BT dubs real quick. If I was on that committee, I would be like, no, absolutely not. Are you fucking serious? Did you see how he nerd raged out? He lost his shit and he almost killed our dog. Like, I don't give a shit, dude. You're saying, yeah, he's good. He fought good and then he took back over. He's really strong. It's like, no, bro, not today.
I don't know. And see, that's what I mean. The reason why I bring it up is because we haven't really seen any negatives to his abilities yet.
Yeah.
So now this is the first time that you've actually seen him having to struggle with like fighting internally of fully becoming a kaiju.
Yeah.
Or holding on to his humanity and using his kaiju powers for the good of humankind. And I am excited to see how that plays out a little bit, because that whole interaction kind of reminded me of like Parasite.
Yeah.
Where he has the mosquito insemination inside of him and the mosquito's trying to take over. But why didn't the mosquito take over before? Why is it only now that the mosquito wants to do it? And I think like the only two lines in the entire anime that the mosquito said was at the beginning, where he said, I found you, before he inseminates Kafka. And then the only other thing he said was at the very last episode, and all he was saying was kaiju. That he doesn't, I assume for some reason, like something happened where the mosquito doesn't like kaiju and he wants to destroy kaiju, with Kafka being the surrogate.
Yeah.
Because I would assume that the mushroom guy and also the red dragon knight guy, who is also the humanoid, the second humanoid kaiju that we saw in the episode or in the season.
Yeah, but he's small. He's like human size and then he grows, but he's not human form.
No, he's not human form, but he can talk.
Yes.
So basically right now we have 3 talking kaiju. We got red dragon knight, we got mushroom man, and we have Kafka.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious, Red Dragon Knight and Mushroom Man, did they originally go through something like Kafka and then the kaiju inside them won? And now the kaiju basically took over them as human beings and are now just running around. And Kafka is the only one that's able to like resist the urge to become full kaiju. And that's why he can kind of remain human and still use the powers at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, with all that being said, like, I thought Kaiju was great.
Yeah.
I thought how they made the story was great. I thought Kafka as a character was great. I thought that Hoshina was the funniest guy ever when Kafka was just failing all of his tests.
Yeah, he's like, fuck yeah, keep going, dude. I love this shit.
The dude was just rolling around on the ground laughing. And he's like, dude, put him on my team just because he's so funny. Yes. I don't care if he's like 0 aptitude. Just give me that guy.
Yes. Hoshino is the fucking best character for sure. And then when he pops off, oh yeah. Yeah, that was good. That was all good. I loved all the fight scenes were good. Everything was animated well, even though like transition from 3D to 2D. I think they did it well. And I think that Kaiju number 8 is going to be like cool for a while. I just don't see like there's too many questions that they could easily answer in a trickle down effect for the next like 6 years of that show. You know what I mean?
It's the same as Attack on Titan. It's like the secret to Titans is inside of Aaron's house's basement.
Yeah.
The secret, it's in the basement.
Yeah, but like
literally in
so
the first episode, it's in the basement.
Yeah,
and then they have to go through like literally 7 seasons before someone goes into the basement and is just like, oh damn, like I wish we went to the basement sooner.
I wish we went 7 years ago. You know what I mean?
So yeah, I hope it doesn't turn into that. Because then I'm gonna be very mad.
Yeah,
I'm on board for Kaiju.
Yeah, I think it's just like you have like I think it's more like a Naruto where you have an evolving storyline and you have characters evolving rather than Attack on Titan where you have like the central storyline and so many other things happen around and it goes around a lot of what is the focus. The focus doesn't change as much. You still have the understanding that there's the mystery of these giant man babies and we need to figure it out. Start from moment 1 of that show.
That's what I mean with Attack on Titan. I feel like you didn't need to take that roundabout method. Like, I'm not entirely sure like why they decided to do it that way, because I feel like, and me included, I feel like that actually turned off a lot of viewers, how they were basically just transitioning the focus of the story and just completely ignoring like the stuff they built before until they got to like the last season and then let's last season part 1, last season part 2, last season part 2, part 1, part 2, and drag it out. Like I wish they condensed it a little bit to make it more concise, because then I would have been more on board. But the fact that they had to, I don't know, I don't want to say like water down, but they had to basically confuse the flavors of the mixture so much that I lost track of what the original flavor was.
Yeah.
Was like a huge turnoff for me.
Okay. I feel that vibe. I was turned off because like when I watched it, I went in with the intention of hating it. Like, because everybody loved it so much and I was already like, I don't like the sense of dread. I'm not a big fan. Like I watch anime to like escape. It's like video games for me. Like I want to have fun. I want to enjoy myself, but I also want to have a good conclusion, positive. You know what I mean? Like there's already enough, like so much terrible things happening in the world. Like, do we need something else that's just like, oh God, that's sad all the time? That was my issue. Given where I'm at in life now, I could probably go back and watch it and be like, yeah, this show's good for what it is and brings a lot to storytelling and stuff like that. Because some of my favorite mediums are incredibly, like Cowboy Bebop is a fun show until it's not fucking fun anymore and everybody's dead. And it's like really sad. That kind of aspect, it sits with me more than like the sadness of Cowboy Bebop sits with me more than the happiness of it. Because I remember how it all ends. Like, it's just like, oh, this is just sad the whole time. Right? It's like watching Full Metal Alchemist, stuff like that. Anyways, so Kaiju number 8 for us, pretty big thumbs up. I quite enjoy. Season 1 was good and can't wait for season 2. And I mean, let's get sad again.
Yeah, let's get sad with Go-Go Loser Ranger.
Yeah.
Sad that it's so bad. And I'm sad that I'm so indifferent about all of the characters in the story and anything involved in Go-Go Loser Ranger. The first season, 12 episodes.
Okay.
Nothing matters.
First of all, we have to talk about crunch, or not crunch, but like the amount of story you can fit into one season and still be palpable. From what I understand, a lot of people, not a lot, I'd say a good amount though, don't like Go-Go Loser Ranger. And they said that it's because they condensed 51 chapters into 12 episodes of a show. Now, the average amount of chapters that go from a manga into an anime is something like 12 episodes, being anywhere from like 20 chapters to like 45-ish would be like the extreme end. 51's a fuckload. And so it becomes hard to also watch this really boring part of what the arc is in this show. So everyone says the same thing. After the fucking, what is it called? The car park arc is what they call it. Or like, it's like a joke arc. It's like where they have like these fights and main characters siding with the Rangers to try and like infiltrate from the inside. He's got help from this girl. Like all of these things are happening, but there's just the car park. And he's like becoming friends with these characters that he fucking hates, what they stand for and all that they are. And there's like, it's just very strange to me. But then you have the end of the arc, which actually starts getting okay, where the Blue Ranger shows up. You get some backstory on him, and you get some backstory on what the bosses are and who they are. It all happens in 12 episodes. And the majority of them are the car park, and it's fucking annoying. It's so annoying to me.
Almost half of the season is the cadets fighting to get the keys so they can join one of the Ranger factions.
Right.
And all that being said, like deciding to stuff that much information
it starts episode
into
6.
Yeah, so almost half of the season is that. But yeah, I mean, it's a stylistic choice, I guess, and anime studio choice where they chose to do that. And I don't know if they decided that it's like the rest of the story is so good, let's just get all this out of the way.
Yeah.
And then we can go into, whatever season 2, which is going to be like the cool shit.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a gamble because you have guys like us who watch it and are like, I hate this. Mm-hmm. I now hate this. I wanted to like it, but now I hate it. Yeah. And it's because of that decision that they made to basically rush the story so they can get to other pieces of it. Now, I mean, on my anime list, it's sitting at 7.37 out of 10 stars. So not enough people, I guess, hated it enough like us.
True. But so I think a lot of people that do watch anime, I would say, when I say a lot, I'm saying like not a majority, but I'm saying like 20% of people that watch anime also read manga. And when you have these people that are like, hey, wait, no, it gets much better. It gets so much better. A lot of those people are the passionate ones that are going to vote on these things.
I agree, but I mean, that's one of my goals of us even talking is to kind of detach all that, because you can't read something you like and then watch something you like and be like, well, I like this. This wasn't as good, but I know it's going to get good. So I'm going to rate it higher, knowing that in the future, if they follow this, then it's going to be really, really good. So I'm going to rate it very high.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's a fair way to actually
like rate what's in front of you, rate the product that you've consumed.
And I mean, you're also kind of like watering down, it's like going on Amazon and not buying a product, but you've seen that product somewhere, and then that you used it once and it was good. So you write a review that this product was great, not knowing any of the changes that were made or anything that was manufacturing produced wise. And you just are blindly writing like a good review for a product. And someone's going to read that and be like, oh yeah, like that sounds useful. I want to buy that. And then they buy it and they're like, is this guy high? Like, did he even did he buy the product at all? Because it's trash.
I've read a bunch of reviews and it says that this is incredible and I'm bored. And why am I bored? Am I the one that's wrong?
No, you're not the one that's wrong, because everyone is entitled to how they feel about this. And I feel the same way. It was boring as fuck.
I was going to say, I just was skimming through episodes to like show different pictures of what this anime is right now. And it brings up the part where I forgot what his name is. Holy shit. Main character's name.
D?
Yeah, D. And then he's talking with that kid, the red-haired kid that he turns into.
Sakura Yama or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sakurama. Hibiki. Yep. He sits with Sakurama who is the opposite of him, who's like, no, the Rangers are doing good, and you know, like, just you need to see it from the inside to understand, and I'll help you. And what the fuck? He chops off his hand for what? What reason was that necessary?
He had to chop off his hand because the blue cadet that was following them had one of the divine artifacts from.
It was a replica, the divine artifact replica, which I've read about, by the way.
Yeah. So, but the divine artifact will damage a monster no matter what, even just by touching it. They can't hold it. They can't touch them.
Yes.
So he cut off his hand and gave it to D. So D basically can prove that he wasn't the monster by being able to touch the relic itself.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I do remember that part.
That's why, but it's still like, I still don't care. Like, I still don't care. He cut his hand off. And then it's also like, why does everyone want to be on the side of the monsters anyway? You have the Yellow Keeper chick. You have this guy. You have, like, even the fucking Blue Keeper maintenance janitor guy was just like, oh, yeah, you're a monster.
This is why
out there and be somebody.
This is why it makes me so mad with Go-Go Loser Ranger, because I know why they want to be on the side of the monsters. I've spoiled it for myself because I wanted to understand why everybody was so jerking off the show. I know now. Why didn't they talk about it at all during season 1? Makes me so mad, because like, you watch it and I know who these characters are going forward, and I know where the artifacts come from and why all this happens and like the different aspects of it, and it just infuriates me because like, they don't talk about it at all.
That's the problem with like the whole composition and the storytelling. Like, the story can be good,
yeah,
but if you execute it poorly like this, like, no one's going to care. Like, I'm not going to go read the mangas, right? I'm sitting here watching the anime. If you don't want to make the anime, just don't, and then just have people read the manga instead. Like, it just doesn't make any sense why you would kind of half-ass the anime, even though in the manga it goes over like way more story than the anime showed. And then now new viewers are just confused as fuck when people that read the manga before are like, oh yeah, I can put the pieces together because I read the manga.
Yeah. So like, as a person, right, that I understand the spoilers of the show, there are opportune times for them to fold the story a little bit and give more. There are so many times when, like, I now have watched Go-Go Loser Ranger and I sit there and I'm like, why does this happen? And then they don't discuss any of why it's happening. It's just happening. And we as the viewer are as fucking lost as D is. And it's frustrating as fuck because like, it just seems inconsequential. And it's like, that's a design choice. It's supposed to be somewhat confusing to try and engage you, but no, it's just more frustrating than anything because like, as a viewer watching it, you know, I was like, oh, what is happening? Why is this happening? What is the point of this? Even when you have like those moments in shows where you're watching what the villain is doing, knowing that the hero has no fucking idea where this is coming from, right? You're watching the villains, their meetup where they're like, okay, so why are we doing this? What's the plan? Blah, 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 blah. And then that gives you a sense of like, oh, wow, this is a bigger thing that the heroes don't know about, but I do as the viewer. It's engaging you into the storyline. You are now inserted as a knowledge base of the storyline. That doesn't really happen in the show. They don't explain a lot.
I guess to that point, like if they want us to feel like D and not know what's happening.
They did a great fucking job.
Well, I mean, I have no problem with it, but just don't show me the other stuff at that point. Like, why would you show me all of the background information and then take me back into being like, oh, but you're like D and you don't know what's going on. But then why did you even show me any of that other shit in the first place?
Right.
Like, why am I seeing any of this? Because it's not helping me understand what's going on. Like, I mean, yeah, I guess internally I'm just like, oh yeah, Red Ranger punched his lieutenant in half because he said he wanted to be the Red Ranger. And I'm like, okay, Red Ranger is a jerk. I got it. Right. Oh, there's more that doesn't meet the eye. Got it.
He was like, you need to step down as the Red Ranger. And he's like, oh, word? Is that what we're doing now? I feel like I'm still fucking gonna punch you in half because, like,
yeah,
don't ever disrespect me. Right.
Yeah.
You have it like The Boys, almost. Like the show is meant to be Japan's version of The Boys because we grew up on superheroes in America. That's why The Boys was so successful, is we got this superhero overload and people were just like so fucking tired of it. And that's why Go-Go Loser Ranger is successful as well. Very similarly, you have so many, I mean, a lot of people grew up watching any sort of those Ranger shows. There was a multitude of them. But in the new seasons and all that stuff, it just becomes the same fucking thing over and over and over and over again. I feel like that's the thing. But in The Boys, you have struggle and you have like more than one character on the side of not the superheroes that aren't trying to get people into like understanding the superheroes. Like people understand that the superheroes are flawed and fucked up. Like these people, for the most part, they're all on the side of the superheroes, but still like, yeah, fuck them. But we're gonna join them anyway to beat them from the inside. It's like, how many characters are like that in this show, and how many characters are like D, where they are the outsider in the show, and it's like you got one right now, and it's really, really frustrating because you don't have anybody that D can bounce off of and like discuss things with and agree with. You're just the only people he could talk to about it are people that are inside the machine already. And that's weird to me. Whereas The Boys had like 4 characters that were on the outside and then 1 character that was on the inside in Starlight.
Yeah, even though I don't like it. I don't think it was good. I'm still on board for season 2. Because that also has been greenlit already.
So as a person that knows a little more of what happens, I think if they do season 2 right, this show makes a massive turnaround in terms of our opinion of the show. If they fucking do it right. And that's the thing, is like, they've got some cool shit up ahead. They've got some really cool stuff with the storyline. But like it's not here yet. And it's kind of boring. I get it. I understand. I just think that the storytelling could have been better. There are liberties that get taken with certain shows where like you don't want to detract from what the manga was, the source material was, because, you know, a lot of people were like, you know, these filler episodes, nobody gives a shit about like Bleach filler episodes or Naruto filler episodes. Stop doing it. We just want the raw. We'll wait. It's okay. All of that stuff now changing in the sphere. And then also like people saying, oh yeah, don't change like love interests. Don't change this. Don't do that. Like I'm all for that to a certain extent, but there's a better way for storytelling to exist. And I feel like Go-Go Loser Ranger missed the mark by quite a bit with just things they could have let the viewer in on.
I agree. Yeah.
So all in all, I think both of us agree Wistoria is good and we're going to keep watching it, which is surprising. Kaiju number 8's good. Going to keep watching it.
Failure Frame's bad.
Yeah, Failure.
And we're going to keep watching it. Yeah.
Because that's what a fucking book club does, all right? We finish the book, okay?
Yeah, we finish what we start. We don't back down. Like Kafka in Kaiju, which is also good.
And then Go-Go Loser Ranger could be better. I would rate it like a 5 right now. Because I know. And that's the problem, is I know too much.
I think mine averages out to be about the same. Because like for me, the animation in Go-Go Loser Ranger really saved it in terms of rating. Oh, I gave it a 6.
Wow.
I don't like it, but I guess I didn't like it that much to give it less than a 6. And
Apparently I'm an asshole.
I think the animation saved it, because using my method for calculating the rating of the anime, like I can't just give it a 0 because I hate it. Because if I didn't have this check in place, everything would probably be a 0.
I actually have another issue of Go-Go Loser Ranger where it feels awkward for the protagonist because he's not like working out. He's not like doing anything. He's just like doing his best to disrupt whatever's happening. And he's not really like, it doesn't feel like he's learning.
No. And it kind of goes like why I don't feel any connection, because I mean, I guess you could look at him like a newborn child. Because his entire life, all they've been doing is mimicking other monsters and then losing on purpose.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I don't even know if they don't have a choice in losing because they get fucking wrecked.
They don't have a choice, but that's all he knows. That's all he's been doing. his entire life. So now he decided to take the path less traveled. And now I guess we're on the path with him, learning all of these things because, yeah, the things that he's doing is very inconsequential. Like nothing matters. It's like he took a screw out of something that has 900 screws in it. Thing is built where like it could literally lose 899 screws and still function. Like it just needs one screw to function, but the other 899 are just redundant screws for like rigidity or whatever. So it feels like he didn't even unscrew one screw. He's trying to turn it to loosen it by like a single thread.
See,
it's not even like the screw is out yet and he's making progress.
Right.
It's like he's just trying. It's a flathead screw, but he's using like a Phillips screwdriver and he's like, why isn't it working? I don't get it. Yeah. I'll get it someday. And then he just keeps trying harder with his Phillips.
The way I see it is it's like it's a machine that's designed to fail. And he's like trying to unscrew the one screw while literally the other side of the machine is falling apart. And that's what's happened. Like, because like at the end of the show or at the end of the season, you see a massive death in one of a major character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of there. He's like, hey. And then the guy's like, hey. And then they're like, I guess we're going to fight about it. And he's like, we're fucking going to fight about it now. And then like, he had just fought like was a person way stronger than D and is like all beat up, but like did a great job. And like the ranger, like the cadets kind of come together and they're like all doing all this stuff. And D's just fucking there. And he's like, and it's like the fucking, dude, it's just almost like the Spider-Man meme in a weird way, but like they point at each other and like one of us has to die, right?
It's like we keep talking about how nothing matters, and it is kind of a joke, but it's also not, because it's like nothing D is doing is actually pushing anything forward. It's like an exercise in futility almost.
He did steal an artifact.
Oh, the divine artifact.
That's a big deal.
But everything else, like he's done until then.
They don't tell you why. I mean, they tell you that it kills bosses or it can hurt these people.
Yeah.
But there's more to the divine artifacts as well. And it's like,
oh, I imagine, yeah.
Can we get a little info? Why? And also, like, you look at the divine artifacts and they look cool, but like the design of the divine artifacts is deliberate and good and well done. And like, it makes me mad. I'm fucking mad. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with us today. So the moral of the story is you can have all the pieces to the puzzle, but if you don't have the knowledge to put the puzzle together, you just have a bunch of garbage on a table.
Damn.
Figure out how to assemble your paper mache, you idiots.
Oh, okay.
That's the moral of the story. That's literally how I feel about Go-Go Loser Ranger.
Damn.
Appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Put your puzzles together. Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!